cut joinery like
I
I'm going to do here at
need
table
my
saw.
fucking.
By using some rabbets
I
and
need
dados,
my
you
fucking
not only increase the glue
towel.
surface on the project pieces, making the whole assembly stronger, those dados and rabbets will help register the parts, so they're going to stay in their proper alignment while you get everything together. And the starting point is to cut some rabbets on the back edges of the sides. These rabbets accept the back panel you'll add later on. To do this, you'll recess a dado blade in an auxiliary fence that's attached to the table saw's rib fence. I like to use a push pad to make sure that the dados are a consistent depth, especially if the pieces have a little bit of cup.
Sit down, bitch. Shut up. Yeah, I look great zoomed in 6,000 times. I know, bitch. Do you look this good? I'm gonna go finish this shit job. Yeah, I know she's a big fucking loser. She knows she's a loser too. Like I said, data is the ultimate fucking piss ass for now.
The lion's share of the strength comes from
Daddy
the glue
insists
and the
upon
screws
getting
that
the
you're gonna
lion's
use
share.
to hold the parts together. Now the key thing about the screw holes is that you want them perfectly centered on the dados. Now in the past I've tried measuring down the outside of the pieces to get those
Get away from my feet.
lined up. It's a lot of measuring and marking, and things can easily go wrong. Don't ask me how I know.
Pop goes the weasel, because the weasel goes pop. A lot of shit can go wrong.
From inside the dados.
You know what I mean? Pop, pop, go to weasel.
Take a
Because the
square
weasel go pop.
and mark the inset of the screw locations right inside the dados.
Exactly, bitch.
Now I'll take my drill and the pilot bit, and I'll just eyeball the center of the dado.
See, don't you eyeball me, boy.
Dado like this, you're going to get really
eyeball
close
me.
to the middle of it. Drill all the way through. Make sure you don't drill into the bench top. Now I know that all the
Well, I know I clean up pretty good, don't I?
Right location. To complete the work, I'll just flip it over and drill the countersinks. Next, the front corners of each side are rounded off with a jigsaw.
Daddy, please fuck my teenage face.
To remove the blade marks and even out the curve.
Forever, daddy. Daddy, please fuck my face. Die. Yeah, dude. That's what I'm doing today. Somebody asked. Daddy, please. Die.
Together in order to measure the final size.
My house smells like Chiba.
You don't want to go by the plans here. You want to go by the actual piece. Then you'll concise those for a nice
pop goes the weasel, motherfucker.
Slip fit into the dados.
Dados.
The dividers for the upper part of the case are a little different. They have a series of dados cut in them, just like I did earlier at the table saw. Only these are narrower and sized for 1/4-inch hardboard. And they'll fit in the same way.
Get your toothbrush out your mouth, asshole. I brush my teeth when it's time.
When the
10
dividers
minutes
are
before
finished,
my girl
you're ready
gets
to begin
here.
assembly.
Not for you, dickhead.
In order to get at all the screw holes easily, though, it's important to follow a certain order. First, apply glue to the dados in the upper and middle shelves, and sandwich the large dividers in between.
You smoke a cigarette and I'll be out of here.
I added the small dividers and the lower shelf next. Finally, sandwich the entire assembly between the two sides. The final pieces to the puzzle are to add a pair of back rails and a back panel to the shelf. Now the back rails provide something substantial when you attach the shelf to the wall. They're just pieces of pine, and on each end cut a rabbet that will interlock with the rabbet on the sides. There's also a long rabbet on the inside edge to wrap over the top shelf, or in the case of the bottom rail, the bottom shelf. You can just set it in place like that. But first, what I want to do is put a little bead of glue on there. Then I can drive my screws. And rather than waiting for the glue to dry with clamps, I'm going to keep moving things along by using a pin nailer to hold the pieces in place. Now the back panel can be sized to fit that opening. It's a piece of hardboard, and then to attach this to the case, I've drawn in some lines that correspond with the dividers and the middle shelf, so that when I tack it in with the nailer, I know that the nails are gonna go right into the shelves and the dividers, and not just hanging out into space. Once that's taken care of, I can flip it up and insert the dividers that will hold on to small items or even sheets of sandpaper. As handy as this shelf is, you'll probably want to build one or two more and put them up in other parts of your house or garage. You know, it seems like every woodworking shop has at least one cordless drill.
That's right. And you know what goes with the cordless drills? It's a tangle of chargers usually.
And the extra batteries. And if it's like my shop, you'll have the battery in one spot, the charger buried under a bunch of other stuff, and the drill, who knows where it is, maybe even in the house.
Exactly. And that's how my shop was, at least till I built a charging station that was similar to this one. I built it a few years ago before we designed this one. But what I really like about it is it creates a home for the charger, the drill, and the batteries.
And it doesn't take up a lot of space either, so you can have everything in one spot without sucking up a lot of wall space for it. I also like the drawer up on top for extra driver bits and some of the other accessories that you just need to have on hand, maybe even a screwdriver too.
Exactly. And the other thing that I like is the plans include an auxiliary shelf, and that creates a home for all those other tools that these manufacturers come out with that are cordless, such as a circular saw or a jigsaw. And it's a great addition to house all your cordless items in one spot in your shop.
And keep everything neat and organized too. The organizer and the shelf here are all built out of 3/4 inch and 1/2 inch Baltic birch plywood. It's a great way to make large panels quickly and easily. If you'd like a free set of plans for the charging station and the auxiliary shelf, they're at our website, woodsmithshop.com.
Now I think it's time to see how Chris puts this together.
To begin construction of the cordless tool charging station, I'm going to start with the back. I have a piece of Baltic birch plywood here cut to 20 by 25 inches. My tasks are, 1, to lay out and cut a soft radius on each of the corners. To cut the radiuses on my back, for this cordless tool charging station, I'm going to use a cordless jigsaw. And 2, to lay out and drill countersunk holes, which will be used to screw on the drawer unit and the charging platform and tool rack that's underneath it. When drilling the holes, do your best to keep the drill bit vertical and try and be consistent in the countersink. With the back completed, it's time to move on to the lower portion of our
To finish.